Hi, it's Penny Bowden here. I'm wearing my toque today because my hair is really bad, so you get to see me in my toque. Anyhow, today I want to do just a really simple lesson to get you started on some simple sketching. Now, I've had a lot of people lately telling me that they can't think of anything to draw, and there is always something to draw. Always, always. There are no boring subjects, just boring artists. And I know sometimes it can be difficult to get inspired by ordinary subjects, but I want to help you get inspired by an ordinary subject today. And that ordinary subject is a gooseneck lamp. Just going to show you mine here. Make sure I got it in the picture. So you can twist it in all kinds of different ways. And when I draw, I might twist it a little different than it usually gets twisted. Just for fun, because I can, because I'm the artist, right? This paper's a little bit mucky, but I don't throw paper away because it's a bit mucky. I don't like to waste paper, so I get as much drawing practice out of my paper as I can. Now, this lamp is actually a really good lesson in perspective, as you will find out. The lamp needs a base to start with. So I just like to kind of get the feel of that round base. It's kind of a disc. And I don't worry about getting the exact perspective that I see on the lamp in front of me. In fact, I'm not even looking at the lamp. I just want to get the feel of I'm a little bit jittery. We'll just have to live with that. Oh, you can see it there. But you can always add lines. You can always make lines like that into movement lines if you get a bit of wiggle. It's hard to draw with a jittery hand sometimes, but it's not impossible. It might be a bit wider at the bottom. So there's the base of the lamp. Showing my jitteriness. Now, the next thing I'm going to put in is not the neck, but the place where the light bulb goes. And I just want to kind of get a feel for where I want that. Just allow my intuition to guide me. Where would I want it to have a kind of a funky drawing here? I don't want it straight above. I think that would be a little bit too boring. I'm thinking maybe a little bit this way and pointing in. And those tops can be different shapes too. If you've seen the crook neck lamps, if you have one, or if you've seen them in stores, they come in different shapes. This one's going to be shaped a bit like this. And I don't worry that it doesn't end up exactly the same on each side. It's a drawing. And the best drawings look drawn. They really do. Embrace the wonky. The wonky is part of your drawing. Oh, I can see I've got a cord in the way here. Let's get that out of the way. So I like my composition so far. You know, it's not totally straight up and down. I'm going to put a switch on. Switch is kind of important to be able to turn the lamp on and off. So there's my switch. And then the crook neck part. And if this were a mug, if I were drawing a mug here, if this were the bottom of the mug and this were the top of the mug, I would say that the line for the top of the mug needs to be pretty much the same curve as this. But in this case, for the lamp, it doesn't need to be, because you can bend this over to any angle that you want. Well, just about any angle that you want. In a drawing, you can pretty much bend it over to any angle that you want. So the curves don't have to be the same. Just as long as it looks convincing, like each part looks convincing. And I think it does. Could have a dent in it here. It's not quite the same shape. You can fix that if you want. but I'm not going to worry about it because I truly believe that's part of what makes the character of a drawing, is that it's not perfect. Now I'm thinking about where the neck would come from the back of this lamp, and I'm thinking if I were looking straight through, the neck would be attached right back here somewhere. Do you see how it's attached in the back? So if it were attached back here somewhere, now this is another good lesson in perspective here. If we're attached back here somewhere, you might want to just kind of get the feel, almost sculpt that neck with your hand before you draw it. And think about the twist you want to get in it to give it some character. And they are pretty much straight up and down here. They start to bend about here, but I'm not worried about that. This is my drawing, so it can bend as much as I want it to. So I'm just going to go try it again. You can do just about any bend you want. This is the one that's getting the feel for me. So I just want to get it in very gently, very shyly at first, just to give myself an idea of where it's going to be. I like that. Now there are different ways you could thicken up the neck. And when I was practicing, these are some little drawings I did. This one I kind of went coily all the way up and down. And I tried to add some scratchy shadows, and not real crazy about this one. This one I kind of went back and forth. And that's what I'm going to do here in a bigger version. So again, with my jittery hand, I apologize for my jittery hand. It's not something I can help right now. But I can still draw, and maybe it'll help add a bit character. So there's one line, and I can follow the same line again, but I'm not worrying if I stick to the line or if it goes out a bit. Because the whole idea behind this is to eventually get something thick enough to look like it belongs to this lamp. And here's where my jitteriness is adding to the picture. I want to make it thicker because it needs to be thick enough to look like it holds up that lamp. Let's decide we want it about that thick total. So it can go in, can go out in spots, not worrying about getting exact even stripes in here. That's not the object of it. The spots, now with this last line I'm going to pay attention to getting it more of an even thickness. I don't want to make it any fatter. If anything, I make it skinnier in spots, I can fix that. Might look a bit skinnier here, but I think I'm going to leave it because as it goes up like this part could be a little bit farther away from us. So another lesson in perspective. There's a pretty big white piece here, so I might fill in some of it. But the white pieces just make it look like that's where the light from another light might be hitting it. And you can just pick around with it, tweak it a bit. If this looks out of perspective, if this doesn't look exactly convincing, you can play with it and fix it up a bit. I feel like the ends should be more tapered to be convincing, and I end up with a thicker line over here, but that's okay. Just kind of helps outline it and emphasize it, show it off a bit. And you could make all kinds of lamps like this in different shapes. You could make a page full of crook neck lamps, of goose neck lamps, whatever you want to call them. You could make a whole fun page of them, and with their necks, you can bend them in different directions and make them look like they're dancing, and you can add some wiggle lines. I got this spot where my jittery hand made me go off the edge. I can turn it into a wiggle line. I can add some wiggle lines here, you know, maybe up here, just for fun. Not that these lamps wiggle a lot, but it's your drawing. Do what you want with it. I might have overdone it with the wiggle lines, but that's okay. I'm not worried about it. Not every drawing you do is going to be a masterpiece. In fact, if you worry about that and you fail to do just fun little practice drawings like this, then I doubt that you'll ever get to your masterpiece, because it takes lots of practice. I'm just darkening up this edge. And there'd probably be a dark side here because the light might be shining down here if the light were on. It might not even be on. So I can scratch a bit of shadow in there. And for up here, the shadow could be on either side, because if this light is making light, the shadow will be over here. But if there's another light up here, it could be somewhere else. So could add a bit of scratchy shadow in. You know, whatever you want to do. Make it yours. Make it your style. You're the artist. I always encourage the development of one's own personal style. That's what it's all about. Me and my toque again. So practice lots of ordinary, everyday subjects. If you spend your time saying, I don't know what to draw, then you will not learn to draw. You need to just grab anything and just find a way to make it fun. Find a way to put some rhythm and dance into it. Find a way to give it some character. And it's those simple little practice sketches that will get you onto the way to learning, to becoming very good at drawing. Practice makes perfect. And then, you know, that idea for your masterpiece might come into your head, and you might decide to start working on that too. And even the drawing that we did here today could be shaded and made into a photorealistic drawing, but this was just a fun drawing, just a sketch to get you started. Thanks for watching. Have fun drawing.